A mushroom growing out of a rotting log looks like it belongs in the plant kingdom. It sits still, it does not move, and it seems to just sprout out of the ground like any other bit of vegetation. But look closer at what a mushroom actually is, and the plant story falls apart fast. In the tree of life, fungi sit on a branch that is genetically closer to animals than to plants. That sounds bizarre, because mushrooms do not walk, do not blink, and definitely do not chase anything down. But biological classification was never based on how something looks or behaves. It is based on ancestry, cell structure, and how an organism actually survives. Once you look at survival strategy, the animal comparison starts to make a strange kind of sense. Start with food. Plants are self-sufficient in a way almost nothing else on Earth is. They take in sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide, and through photosynthesis they manufacture their own sugar from scratch. They are, in a sense, their own kitchen. Fungi cannot do any of that. They have no chlorophyll, no internal solar panel, no way to turn light into fuel. Instead, fungi eat. Not with a mouth, but functionally the same idea. They release enzymes into their surroundings, break down organic material into smaller molecules, and then absorb those nutrients directly through their cell walls. That is far closer to how an animal digests food, breaking it down before absorbing it, than to how a plant manufactures its own energy internally. This eating habit is not a minor detail. It is the entire reason forests function. Fungi are the planet's primary recyclers. When a tree falls, when leaves pile up every autumn, when an animal dies in the woods, something has to break all of that material back down into simple elements the ecosystem can reuse. Fungi do the bulk of that work. Without them, forest floors would drown in leftovers, dead wood and unrotted litter piling up for years, nutrients locked away in bodies and branches that never return to the soil. Every mushroom you see is quietly part of a cleanup crew keeping the entire nutrient cycle of a forest moving. Then there is the structural evidence, which is maybe the most convincing part. Every living cell needs some kind of wall to hold its shape, and the material used for that wall says a lot about what an organism actually is. Plant cell walls are built mainly from cellulose, a tough carbohydrate that gives stems and trunks their rigidity. Fungal cell walls are not made of cellulose. They are built from chitin, the exact same structural material that makes up the hard shells of insects. A mushroom's cell wall is chemically closer to a beetle's shell than to a blade of grass. That single fact alone should make you rethink what a mushroom really is. Here is something most people never realize. The mushroom itself is barely the organism. What pokes up through soil after rain is just the fruiting body, a temporary structure built for one job, releasing spores. The actual organism lives mostly out of sight, as a sprawling web of thin threads called mycelium. This network spreads through soil, through rotting wood, or through whatever food source it has colonized, digesting material and absorbing nutrients as it grows outward, sometimes across surprising distances underground. The mushroom cap is just the visible tip of something far larger, hidden beneath your feet the whole time. Fungi have also built relationships that make them impossible to slot neatly into any one role. Some form partnerships with plant roots, trading minerals they have pulled from soil in exchange for sugars the plant makes through photosynthesis. A genuine trade between two completely different kingdoms. Others are parasites, feeding directly on living hosts. And some fungi have become essential to human life, used to make bread rise, turn milk into cheese, ferment soy sauce, and produce life-saving medicine. That range is exactly why fungi occupy such a strange space in how we think about life. They are not plants quietly photosynthesizing in the corner, and they are not animals chasing prey through a forest. They are their own kingdom entirely, built on eating, decomposing, and absorbing rather than manufacturing. So the next time you spot a mushroom pushing up through wet ground after rain, do not think of it as a tiny plant. Think of it as the visible tip of a hidden eater, quietly breaking the world down so the rest of it can keep growing. Follow for more random things you may not know.